I want to talk a little bit about the Wi-Fi features built into the Canon 70D. These are the same as built into the Canon 6D. It's a fairly robust setup with a few catches, so let's just dive right in. I'm going to walk through the setup just to show you that it is quite easy. I'm going to enable it, and then that brings up the Wi-Fi function option right here. I need to register a nickname for this camera, and the touchscreen makes all of this entering very, very nice and handy. So I'm going to say OK. Now, I've got some options here on the Wi-Fi functions. I could set it up to talk between cameras to transfer images back and forth. I can connect to a smartphone or tablet. I can connect to the EOS utility that comes with this camera, so if they're on the same Wi-Fi network, and we'll look at that in a minute. Connect to a Wi-Fi printer, a compatible Wi-Fi printer, upload directly to a web service from within that, and then view the images on your kind of smart LCD TVs, or I guess they don't have to be LCDs, but your smart TVs. We're just going to dive into one of the settings right now, and that is connect to a smartphone. Again, I'm keeping my fingers out of the way, but this is all touch sensitive. Now, if I was out in the field, I would choose camera access point mode. In that case, the Canon acts as a wireless access point that your smartphone or tablet connects to and can remotely activate and pull images off. I'm going to choose infrastructure mode this time. The camera access point mode is really straightforward, step by step. You start it. It asks for a name for the wireless, you give it a name, it tells you what the password is, then you fire up your Wi-Fi on your smartphone or tablet. It will see that name that you just gave it, you'll put in the password, and you'll be connected to it. I'm going to use infrastructure mode though, which uses my wireless that's in the house right now as a go-between, and that is so that I can also stream the desktop or the screen of my tablet on and give you a better viewing experience. That's the only reason that I'm doing that. So I'm going to choose infrastructure mode, click OK, and ask it to find the network, click OK. It's going to look around a little bit. It's going to find my network, which is black box. I'm going to click OK and click OK, and then I'm not sure what it's got in there for a password right now, but I am going to put in my password. Maybe I'll blur it because it's so top secret. If you drive down the road I live on, you could get on my wireless. Just kidding. Okay. So, it's going to take it a second or two. Yep, everything is on auto. I don't have anything funny. And now it tells me where it is connected and the IP address and the MAC address. Now, over on my tablet, I am connected to the same Wi-Fi, so all I need to do is launch the EOS remote app, which is right there in the center of the screen. And let's just check camera connection. It's going to look around a little bit and find the camera. There it is. I'm going to touch that. It's got its nickname that I put in. MAC address and IP address are all the same. Now, back over on the camera, it can see that it's smart enough to say, hey, this is a Nexus 7. You want to connect to it. You can also set up what images are viewable already on the device. Let's say you took some nudie pictures 2 weeks ago. You don't want somebody connecting to that to be able to see that. You could say only the images from a past number of days. Or in my case, no nudie pictures. I can just say all of the images. OK. And you can change the name and things like that sort. I'm just going to click OK again. But you can see over here on the device we are now connected, which means I can go back into the device. So once you're connected to it, and we can hit menu and get completely out of that now. Once you are connected to it, and you can see in the top right corner of the screen is a little connection icon, you have two options. You can view images that are on the device, or you can do some remote shooting. Let's start at the top, and I'm going to choose camera image viewing. That is going to read from the camera all of the images that I've taken in the past. Well, all of the images I've taken on this SD card that are currently in the Canon 70D. And you can scroll through them, and they load as you scroll, and there are videos as well. Couple caveats. One, You cannot bring images over larger than S2, which is that 1920 by 1080 size. If the image is larger, it will resize it for sending over. So I'm calling that a bummer. I would like to be able to pull over larger images. We've got tablets, we've got smartphones that are capable of handling larger file sizes, and if I wanted a full RAW on my tablet, then I should be able to get a full RAW. But right now, it is limited to 1920 by 1080. So I can pull up an individual image. And once I do that, notice that it has 4 stars. Now, I was connected to this camera on an iOS device earlier this evening, and I used the little star rating right here at the bottom to give it a 4-star rating. That was written into the camera file, and now when those are pulled into Lightroom, those would be there. So it's kind of a sweet thing. You are able to rate these images on the camera before you import them. It also gives me the information. I took this in RAW and JPEG on the 6th of September, the time, my shutter speed, my aperture, and my ISO, and any exposure. This was in manual mode, so there is no plus or minus exposure. I could, of course, delete this. I can hit X to get back out of here. I can hit this little option in the bottom left corner to save this, and it's going to save the smaller version, 1920 by 1080, to my camera roll on this device. You see in the top right corner now is a small arrow that lets me know that that has been downloaded. Here's another picture I took, and no arrow in the top corner. I can press the info button, and that info down there goes away. I can press this little mail button here, and this will bring up an option of sending this off somewhere eventually. Yeah, and then it's basically, that is your share button. It doesn't look quite the same in most Android apps. It looks a little bit different, but in here they're choosing a little mail envelope that launches that. Clicking the little grid icon in the top left corner launches you back into this viewing. You cannot bring over video clips. It will only show you a thumbnail currently, and if I press down, it says operation not available with these images. Bummer. So a couple of things to compare this to the wireless capabilities on the D5200 and D7100. And I shouldn't say the built-in wireless capabilities, they have none, but they are sold with a little dongle, or a little dongle is sold for about $50, $60. That is very similar, gives you the access point control. It doesn't allow as great a range as you're getting here in this camera. If you remember, we go back to that. Well, I'm not going to be able to show it to you now because we're into this settings. If we press OK, yeah. So we can't show you, but remember the connect from a computer, upload to a service, connect to a DNL, all of those, DNLA, all of those are not something that's available on the Nikon side. You really can just connect to the camera and pull files off. But you can pull files off larger sizes, and you can pull video files off too. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. I could be wrong. It's been a little while since I've played with it. Okay, so there's your, and of course once you save an image here or share an image out to one of your programs, you can edit it, you have it on this device, and everything that you want there. You can sort by date through here. You can sort by rating. So you have some pretty sweet setups for navigating through all of those images that are on the camera. Now let's get a little bit more exciting. We've backed out of camera image viewing, and now let's talk a little bit about remote shutter. So now I can, or remote shooting, I should say. So I've pressed remote shooting. Let's turn the live view on, and you can see that there's a little icon. You're looking at the back of the camera, of course, you see a little icon that shows you that Wi-Fi is currently working and the signal strength there between the device and the router. On the tablet, I have the option, of course, to just take a picture by pressing that button. And it's taken a picture, and now it's showing me a preview and showing me what my settings were for that device. I can bring up my settings, and I am currently in P mode on the camera, so I can't really change much other than the ISO, but I can press that button and then drag to change the ISO. I'll tell you, this is a little bit less exciting than working with the D7100 simply because you have a really nice touchscreen on the back of the Canon 70D already. So, you know, but this implementation is quite nice, and of course, this is slick because I'm doing this remotely. Let's see, we can touch to focus. We got a flat plane of view here. I can touch the little focus button, make sure it's focused, and it already is, and take another picture. Now, I'm going to change the dial to M mode, manual. And so now we can see that we've had a change in our exposure, and I can touch the settings button, and I can come bring up the shutter speed. I can bring up the shutter speed, and then I can lower the shutter speed. So we'll see the result of that. We're getting that real-time feedback that is so nice from the Canon. Press our back button, go into our aperture, and I'm zoomed just using the kit lens, zoomed all the way at 55 right now, so f5.6 is my maximum aperture. Let's just, for silly sake, change it because we can. So I've changed it to f9. Our ISO is still sitting at the same thing, and now I'm going to take a picture. Similar to the fact that movies cannot be brought over, you cannot shoot movies from this view as well. And I can turn live view on or off from this device. Maybe if you wanted to save a little bit of battery power, the info button, and whether or not you can rotate the lock screen. And up on the left here side we have our settings that you can see right there. Manual mode, auto white balance, and all of those, and those are set. You can't make any changes to those. You can really only change your basic settings depending on the mode you're in. So in manual mode you can change your shutter speed, your aperture, and your ISO. You can't make changes to anything else without putting your hands on the camera. So this was a look at the Wi-Fi features of the Canon 70D, which is also the same as the 60D. It's pretty neat. The app really, though, needs to catch up with the technology in the camera. We should be able to change all of these settings. We should be able to bring video across if we want. We've got high-speed wireless now, and certainly a large video file would be a high-quality video file would be very large very quickly, but there certainly would allow for shooting at maybe 640, the smaller standard definition, and have that stream across or come across automatically. And I also really wish that we could shoot at larger file sizes than the 1920 by 1080. And I think it's a little silly that we're limited to that. So hopefully the Nikon, I've seen updates in the Nikon app that have made it more useful in just the couple of months that it's been out. I hope that we'll see more updates in the Canon app as well in the future. But for now, this was a look at the Canon 70D and the Wi-Fi functions. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything that I just covered, leave a comment down below, or even better, come over and find me on Facebook. I do a better job of keeping up with comments over there. Thanks so much for watching.